Brandon Aiyuk, Mike Evans, Justin Fields, Dak Prescott, whole bunch more of breaking news to break down. This is quite a wild week we're walking into as we head into the beginning part of free agency, just the franchise tag territory. Will players get tagged? Who won't get tagged? T. Higgins, etc., etc. The Fantasy Football Show. Breaking news show. 8 p.m. Eastern. Monday through Friday show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
We've got all kinds of news on screen. I could go back and forth between some of these screens because, goodness gracious, a lot of this stuff is still going on. Breaking now. Still a lot of Jalen Hurts talk. You just saw my Jalen Hurts screen. A lot of Brandon Aiyuk talk. That is still going on. That is still ongoing. That's not a dead thing. Mike Evans kicks off kind of today's piece of news. Let me read this for you right here. This coming from Bleacher Report. The Buccaneers had a soft deadline today to get an extension done with Pro Bowl wide receiver Mike Evans, but both sides remain far apart, sources say. Tampa Bay is set to take a $7.4 million 2024 dead money hit by not getting a deal done today. So maybe we hear something here at the tail end. Talks will continue, but to my understanding, Evans is trending toward becoming a free agent, barring an unexpected change in discussion. This is kind of interesting because it was thought originally that this guy Mike Evans was going to be playing one more season in Tampa, at least one more season with Baker Mayfield, and that Baker and Evans together wanted to be in Tampa and kind of run this thing back. Now everything is about money, and people could say that it's not. Money does define respect, and so there's a whole lot of. Let me fix this headline here. There's more than just Fields. Breaking NFL breaking news show. There we go. There are many saying and suggesting that they're so far apart that Mike Evans is like, look, I'll try and do this. I think they will try and bring it back, run it back in Tampa. But the Baker Mayfield franchise tag is likely, but that guy wants to work out a long-term deal as well. And they are sitting here saying, okay, we can't franchise tag Mike Evans because it won't cost $21 million. It'll cost Mike Evans $28 million. It'll cost them $28 million to franchise tag Mike Evans. So he's not franchise tagged. This guy has to sign an extension in order to keep Baker happy. And this guy doesn't want to sign a mega deal unless he knows Baker is going to be his quarterback and he gets the bag that he wants. So this is looking more and more like something we didn't anticipate, that Mike Evans would be exploring some other 2024 situation. And could it be KC? Could it be, imagine Mike Evans in Kansas City catching footballs from Patrick Mahomes. Dare I say that there aren't many wide receivers that would be better for Patrick Mahomes? Dare I say that this wouldn't be the most ideal situation for Mahomes? Even more than like a handful of better wide receivers, it just so happens that this guy, the way he gets a football, the way he operates, the way he navigates the field, it would be crazy to imagine this guy in a Kansas City Chief uniform. It would be unreal. He would be so much better than some other players that are better than him skill set wise in this situation, catching from Patrick Mahomes. I could just see Mahomes lobbing up 12 to 15 touchdowns to Mike Evans in what would probably be his last final elite season. If he went somewhere where there wasn't as potent of a passing attack or a quarterback that I trust as much, there could be a drop-off for Mike Evans this upcoming season. Ziggy, how old is Mike Evans?
Mike Evans is 30 years old.
30 years old.
Born on August 21st, 1993.
Okay, so August he turns 31. He turns 31. That's not good. That's not good, people. You don't want to be 31 years old and a wide receiver in the NFL. But KC would extend his life. another year. It just would. There's certain situations that would extend life. Derrick Henry is one of those players that if he was getting drafted in the second round, I'd say run for the hills because he's just, even though he's defied logic for 2 straight years, Derrick Henry. Ziggy, how old is Derrick Henry? Ziggy, how old is Derrick Henry?
Derrick Henry is 30 years old and was born on January 4th, 1994.
Yeah, January. So he just turned 30. He'll play 30 during this season. This is a tough year to be a 30-year-old running back for Derrick Henry, but in a good spot like Dallas or Baltimore, and we'll talk about that in a second, Baltimore or Dallas could revive him one more time, could have him on the field dropping 10, 15 touchdowns for these situations, and in these situations alone. Derrick Henry stayed in Tennessee, probably flop by mid-season. Could look good out of the gate in week 1. Could look good for the first month of football, month and a half of football, but he would wear down. They would drive him into the ground. Maybe he needs to go somewhere where they will throw to him, because Derrick Henry's a better receiving back than I think we really realize. I think some of us realize that, but then we've really come to know. He could pull in passes if they threw it to him. So maybe Derrick Henry doesn't run for 1,400 yards in Dallas. Maybe Derrick Henry doesn't run for even 1,200 yards in a Baltimore Ravens uniform, but maybe he runs for 900 to 1,000 even on a 18-game season. There is a possibility he could have 1,000 yards, not a big number, and have 12 to 15 total touchdowns and pull in a lot of receptions more than normal, even though he's supposed to be tailing off. 30-year-old Derrick Henry is not a great investment unless it's in the 4th round, which is where he's going on Underdog Fantasy. So you might be confused. Link is being dropped in the live chat as we speak. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. They'll double your first deposit up to $100 by just using that link I've just dropped in the live chat. And also make sure you, if you're watching the replay of the video, you hit the link in the description of the video. But the link will insert code Smitty for you. On Underdog Fantasy, Derrick Henry is a 4th round pick. Clark has become a YouTube exclusive member. Clark, appreciate you. Clark, appreciate you, Clark. What are we saying here? What were we saying here before Clark absolutely phenomenally interrupted the show with his YouTube exclusive membership? Clark, C-Mac, my boy C-Mac. You guys know my boy C-Mac. Bang, bang, Niner gang, he says, coming in with the $5 holler. C-Mac, you get a boss horn toot. We've got a little bit of a dilemma here. I've had several people come to me and say, Smitty, this boss horn is amazing. It's phenomenal. And I've had a handful of people come to me, not 100 or 200, like 5 or 6 in the comments, but like all in a row that says, Smitty, this boss horn is out of control. I'm trying to sleep, having you tuck me in at night when I listen to the show replay. Smitty, I'm sitting with my wife at dinner with the family, and I got the show on, and all of a sudden this horn goes off. Hey, Smitty, I'm at work watching. Like, can I get a vote? Are these a bunch of Karens that are worried about this boss horn thing? Or are we doing it live going forward with the boss horn, or are we dialing it back? I just want to know, quite honestly, is it a good addition to the show? Is it something that gets in the way? It does seem like we have a few boss horn, Henrys and Karens that potentially we got. Mad. What's this guy doing? Mad Reagan dropped 50 gifted memberships. We gotta boss horn this out. Where's my? Can we get a vote though? I gotta mute that as 50 gifted memberships rolling. Reagan, come on, bro. C-Mac coming in with the $5 holler. Reagan coming in with the freaking 50 gifted memberships. Clark became a member. Can I please get a vote? Is the boss horn a problem? Is it a problem or not? Superfish says honk honk. is there a way to maybe minimize the boss horn volume slightly? Maybe I'll lower the volume. Maybe I'll try this. Let's see if I can do it.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Okay. All right.
Alert. Super chat alert.
So we're on this mic right here. Test, test, test. Okay, you guys can hear me good, right? I'm going to lower this volume down to the absolute minimum that I can put it. I'm talking right into it. I've got half volume. Okay, so if I move that mic over there and I boss horn this out, tell me, are we going to be a bunch of carrots about this, or is this an absolute, no-go on the show? Here's the boss horn. This goes out to C-Mac. That's C-Mac. This one goes out to Reagan for dropping 50 memberships. All right. Don't censor the boss horn, says Bill the Tickler. Bill ain't happy about the boss horn censorship idea. Reagan, appreciate you. Reagan, I don't know if I'm saying that right. I apologize. Travis says no. I think to censoring the boss horn. That's too low. Smitty, do not lower the volume. Smitty, do not lower the volume. Lower the volume is cool. No boss horn, says Antonio. Antonio says no boss horn. Antonio, call into the show. I need the no boss horn perspective. I'm not super mad at you or anything like that. I don't know if everybody's gonna be upset. Turn down for what? Always loud. Love it. That's perfect. No boss horn, says Antonio. Antonio's the only person that says no boss horn. Antonio, please call into the show. I need to figure out. I need to talk to a no boss horn perspective. I need to hear your story. And you might get a little bit of heat in the chat. I can't control that, but I'm going to try and have everybody kind of tame themselves. We got 100 people in here. 38 thumbs up. Please hit the thumb up button. Keep the mother freaking boss horn, honk it, says C-Mac. I agree with you, C-Mac. Thomas says keep the boss horn. The boss horn's fine, says DeBalt. No horn, says ERA. I'll quit watching. No horn. Hold on. I don't know if ERA is I don't know if ERA is joking or not. ERA, call in and give us your perspective, please. I need to know why you're going to quit watching if the boss horn continues. But that's why I'm bringing this up, is I've had about 5 to 6, 7 people. Some might call him a Karen, some might call him just a concerned citizen, that have in the comments said, look, I love your show. This is just a little piece of advice. I think the boss horn's got to go because it makes it hard for me to watch as an earpiece user, as an earpiece, watcher of the show. Never thought I'd see the day that Smitty would turn down for he says Travis, I gotta try and test out different volumes. It's not that I'm muting it or taking it off. Grizzly dropped a super chat right here. Thank you, Mad Reagan, for dropping 50 gifted memberships. Those are still filing in. Grizzly says boss horn is obnoxious in the headphones in the truck with the system. Still makes me smile though. Can we replace it with the star? No, Grizzly Slimes, appreciate you. You see what I'm saying? There are some people that have a real problem with it. They have a real problem with it, and I'm not. The horn haters are the ones who don't believe in the tripod or process. Okay, yeah, I agree with you. Okay, hold on. Someone call in. I want a boss horn, an anti-boss horn, and a boss horn advocate. I need 2 of you on the phone. We need to have a fantasy football court session here on if the boss horn is going to remain. So please call in. Fantasy football court is underway.
It's time for fantasy football. Court.
Here we are. Here we are. I got to mute these 50 gifted memberships coming in. All right, I'm waiting for 2 phone callers. We're going to take this and do it live. Caller 217, where are you calling from, and what is your name, pal?
Calling from Illinois. My name is Dave.
Dave from Illinois. Are you an anti-Boss Horn person?
Oh, man, I have to say I am. It's only because a lot of the times when I listen to the videos, I'm in the shower, it's early in the morning, wife, kids sleep, and then that thing comes on, and it's just like, no, I can't stop it.
Okay, so I've got Travis on the line. Travis is clearly a Boss Horn advocate. Okay, so I have 2 people on the phone. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to make your case, Dave. I would say you probably need a stronger case than that, but let's go ahead and give you 30 seconds. The floor is yours. Go ahead. You've got to go. Fantasy football court in session. Here is the prosecution. You are up. 30 seconds, pal.
All right, for my wife and kids' sake, I would agree and negotiate to keep the horn if there could be some sort of signal that I can get my ass out of the shower and go hit pause before that thing comes on.
Okay. And you rest your case. Do you have any witnesses or any recross examination of your examination?
I don't think she would be more anti.
Okay. Your wife want to weigh in on this or what?
No, we don't want her to weigh in.
Okay. Is her name Karen by chance?
Close.
No. Okay. All right. Hang tight, Dave from Illinois, anti-Boss Horn advocate. Okay, let's go over to Travis Rowe, who is the representing attorney for the Boss Horn. Travis, you have because this court is corrupt and we do things differently than other people. You got 45 seconds. Go ahead.
I mean, just live by the saying, no half measures. You don't go halfway on things like that. And anyone who's complained, I haven't seen many people outwardly complain about it. If you bring it up, they say something, or once in a while you might hear something, but it's just overwhelmingly people like it. And I mean, I respect the shower time, but that's like 15 minutes out of your life at the most. You can watch it any other time, without me being rude.
Yeah, so thank you, C-Mac. C-Mac says you can't name another fantasy show, or show, C-Mac, for that matter, that has the interaction. Smitty is goated. Thank you. I think your first witness might be Perps, and Perps is going to come in and give some testimony real quick. Here's what Perps has to say.
Perps 14. While Dave, you've changed.
Well, Dave, you've changed. Dave, what is your response to Perps' "you've changed," Dave? And I believe what Perps' translation is, maybe grow a sack while we're in the shower scrubbing away. But Dave, I will say I understand where maybe you're coming from. But at the same time, is that anybody else's problem? I guess is what the cross-examination would probably lead
I would withdraw my argument.
You what?
I mean,
I withdraw my argument.
You withdraw your argument?
all right.
I withdraw my argument, gentlemen. I will grow a sack.
Dave has decided to buck up, and he's no longer prosecuting this case. Do we have another Boss Horn? Do we have another Boss Horn, anti-Boss Horn caller that would like to come and take over this case? Dave has left the council team, jumped over onto our side, and now we have nobody prosecuting this case. I need somebody that's anti-Boss Horn to figure out a way to get the courage to call in and try and tell us why the Boss Horn is a problem. Because I can't in good conscience take this thing out if I don't have good, sound arguments against it.
For anyone who's saying
Sound argument is a perfect word.
$20 hauler is a signal.
Yeah, that's true.
10 or 15 seconds.
Yeah, Dave, when you're in there scrubbing and when you hear Smitty go, "Oh, Bob with a $20 hauler," isn't that your signal to drop the soap, grab the towel, half wrap, scoot on out, drip water all over the place, and knock the phone to the side, or I don't know. And I guess my bigger question, Dave, is did that volume turn down that I do help at all? Like people got mad at me
No,
for turning
there's nothing that the volume changed. It's going to be ridiculous no matter what. But
Well, hold on. Let me do a test. Hey, for all of the Karens in the shower right now, I'm gonna fire this off at normal volume. Okay? Can everybody be prepared? Can you let all of your significant others know we're about to fire off the boss horn at normal volume? Here it is. Look, I'll be honest with you. I saw a big red line on my audio. Like that thing looked like it was about to burst. I think my screen's bleeding. If I go over to the other microphone, which I have minimized to the lowest degree I can minimize on the actual mic itself without adjusting settings in my system. So here is the volume now. Tell me if this is a problem.
Alert. Super chat alert.
I gotta say, like looking at the levels, that is a significant drop. Instead of redlining, it's literally the sound of my volume of the yellow. I'm hitting yellow volume right now when I raise my voice and I get excited, and that's about where the boss horn was. So can I re-ask the question, Dave? You don't have to just say yes because you feel pressured right now. You've already jumped off the prosecution case due to peer pressure, and now I don't want you to just say yes on this one. Did it sound like a lesser volume to you?
You know, it didn't really sound like that much of a difference. Like it's good. It's gonna wake my wife up. Period. She's just gonna have to deal with it.
Alert. Super chat
Yes, sir. Like, are you sitting behind me at a traffic light right now? What's going on?
I don't know. I'm just not sure. Look, I hate to say this, okay? I hate to say this. I first of all, I hate to admit that I even considered taking the boss horn away, not away, but like asking this question. I hate to say I even admitted that. But at the same time, it's like if someone, no offense, Dave, this is not for you. I get it. I don't want to lose an avid listener or follower. It's not my goal. That'd be stupid business. But I also, you got to look at it from my perspective. There are 8 or 9 people, or no, maybe I'd say 25 people out of 27. That's a high number too, though. 25 out of 27 that love this thing and that would be upset at me, that might stop watching me if I just took the boss horn away because somebody was bathing and was like, hey man, when I'm when I'm in the shower and I'm scrubbing, this thing can't go off. It's not good for my morning routine. It's not, like, I might lose more people resorting to that kind of behavior than firing off the boss horn. Also, I venture to say if somebody stops watching my channel because I fire a horn off, they probably are not that big of a fan anyway. They're probably somebody that hates all my takes. They're probably somebody that rarely watches. Now, I might be wrong, Dave, because you sound like an avid listener. But you don't sound like somebody's going to walk away over it, though, right? So that's why I don't know that I'm going to drive you away. And I am worried about the quality of my.
At night.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
That's why I listen at night now and not in the morning.
So it does affect you. It does affect you. And I hate that. I do hate that. But at the same time, it's like, how many more people, like, look at it from my perspective, how many more people enjoy this channel? Like C-Max said, what show does this kind of stuff? Nobody. So how many more people am I going to gain by doing it than not doing it and saving, a lesser amount of people than I'm actually gaining? They're allergic to sunlight, says C-Mac. Let's go to Tom real quick. Tom, are you a witness for the prosecution against the boss horn, or are you part of the defense team? Tom, call back in. You must have got disconnected. Tom, dial in again. Tom was trying to get in. He couldn't get in. We tried to swear him in time. It did not happen. Can I go over to Slime? Slime is on hold right now. Slime, I assume you are part of the... I don't know what you are, because you said that it was loud, but you said that you're willing to put up with it, right?
I don't know, man. What do you think? You get more people by doing it or less people by doing it? I love the $20 super chat. That's super catchy. I do notice that, I'm listening at higher volumes with bass. So even when I listen to you on the truck with the system and stuff, I got to turn it down because there's some bass, and when we get hype, it gets loud. But I'm against the horn, man. Like, did you get sick of picking up the hundreds out of the money gun? The money gun was money. No, like no pun intended.
Well, the money gun broke after like 3 days of using it because we would use it so much. But I honestly feel like I hear a lot, not a lot, but I hear a handful of people saying this. So it makes me concerned for my product. You know, I'm going to have this conversation. That's why we're here doing Fantasy Football Court on the Boss Horn.
I mean, me in the shower has no effect on you blowing a horn or not. That's for sure. So
Okay,
I'm gonna
Dave.
kick that argument out.
Dave.
But I don't know. It's like I'm just me, man. I can say
Okay,
whatever.
let me
I think it's more obnoxious than it is beneficial.
I've heard a few
I don't see a super pro out of it.
Okay,
Do you
but
think
everybody.
more people.
But everybody in the chat, a majority, 90%, if not 95% of the chat is saying the Boss Horn's a staple. It stays. Come on. Why? So how is it not beneficial is my argument. And for everybody on the phone right now, this is Slime. Slime's the one with the bird. The bird is my biggest fan. So I kind of need to listen a little bit to what Slime's saying at least. I'm not saying I'm going to decide off of what Slime says. But Slime's bird is my biggest fan. I don't know does the bird have a problem with the horn?
He hasn't said anything to me about it, but
I don't know. Slime, you're giving us something to think about, but I mean, can I get somebody else to call in?
I'm no hater, bro. You know I'm no hater. I love the show. I listen
That's
all
why
the time.
That's why I'm taking what you're saying
Just
seriously,
give me the
because you are
honest
not a
opinion.
hater. I can tell you Slime is a goat. Slime is a goat. I don't want any negative comments on Slime. His bird is my biggest fan. His bird watches every show of mine. Bird hasn't complained. Slime's complained. The bird hasn't, I might add. But Slime, I
So I have
take
a
you.
question.
Go ahead.
I respect Slime too, and so I have a question. Maybe pose it to the audience. Like you said, is it obnoxious or not? See how many people in the chat think it's obnoxious. Like that works, because if there's a bunch of people that say it's obnoxious, and you know it's no good. I don't think you'll get that, but I think it's a reasonable question to ask.
Okay, can I please get a consensus, thumbs up or thumbs down, a yes or a no if you can't, if you're in the shower right now and you can't necessarily, type, find the thumb up emoji, hit type yes. Yes or thumbs up or no or thumb down. Does the Boss Horn need to stay? And let's just take a little gander at how much of an impact it would have to take it away. I don't think anybody would unfollow me or stop watching me if I took the Boss Horn away. I'll at least admit that, okay? But I think a couple might lose respect for me in the morning. But I would definitely say that we might gain more people than we lose by having the antics that this show is really designed around and created from. You know what I mean? Like Howard Stern, like, let me give you an example. Like Howard Stern's a big, pioneer of radio talk radio humor, pushing the boundaries, having an entertaining show, entertainment. He's like, I would say he's one of the kings of entertainment. And do you know how many people would have come in and said, hey, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. It makes it hard to watch your show. I can't listen to it with my family around. And he said, I don't really care. Because this is who I am. This is what the show represents. And I have very, very strong conviction that the majority of the people watching want it. And the people that have not found the show yet could gravitate toward this more than somebody is stumbling upon Rick and Steven, Excel Sheet Eric, doing their Tri-Box fantasy show where they don't talk to their audience at all. And their audience asks questions. And they just watch three dudes, monotone dudes, talk about Thanksgiving in the first 15 minutes of the show, and everyone's like, I'm here for fantasy. These boring ass dudes are talking about their Thanksgiving dinner and turkey recipe, and I just don't really go that way. So let's see real quickly. Ditch the bird. See Mac. No. We love the bird. Okay, so let me just read off real quick. Thumb up, thumb up, thumb up. I don't know, says Theo. Woo, Theo, you might need to call in. You're on the fence. I don't know if I like that answer, Theo. I want to hear from you. Horn certified. Superfish thumbs up. Joe, thumb up, thumb up. Yes, thumb up, thumb up. Boss Horn. My pronouns are Boss Horn, says Space Ricky. Brandon, thumb up. Keep it till you negotiate. Let's see here. Thumb up, Mike. I don't see any thumbs down. I mean, people might be afraid to say it. Like that, I'll admit that. But I need an anti-Boss Horn person to call in and another pro Boss Horn person to call in. We need more people.
Bill Tickler had a good comment. He said it's part of the fabric of the show. I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and is this really, like, seriously? I'm gonna do 2 toots. Everybody, here comes the Boss Horn toot. I'm gonna do one on this mic, and I'm gonna switch mics and do it on the other. Travis, tell me how the volume's different. Ready? Here's the one on the. Everybody, plug your ears if you get sensitive. Okay, that's no volume down. Okay, Travis, how loud am I when I talk right now? Am I pretty far away? Travis, can you hear me? Travis?
Sounds the same.
Travis, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Sorry, I was on mute.
How far away do I sound when I'm talking to you right now? Because the volume's
You sound all right. I'm not sure how it would sound over the YouTube. I'm on the phone.
Let me try one thing on this, and let me move the.
Now you're far away.
I'm far away now.
Yeah.
Okay. How do I sound? How do I sound right now? Do I sound far away?
Not real far. I can tell you're standing away from the mic. But.
Okay, ready? I'm gonna blow the Boss Horn right now. Here's not lowered. Here's lowered. Is it significantly low or no?
Same exact thing.
Over the phone, it's pretty close. So I don't know. Let me mute it and listen to the stream.
I barely hear you, Mr. TD. barely hears the Boss Horn. Smitty, I'm sure the majority of your anti-Boss Horn complainers are keyboard warriors and don't even subscribe or participate. Not necessarily true, because Slime is diehard. He is. Like, Slime's here representing the people that don't have a voice, that are afraid to say anything in the chat because they don't want to get blasted, which I understand.
If you listen to the stream, you can tell the difference. But what I would also argue is that the difference to someone that thinks it's loud, isn't going to be that much of a difference whether you do it low or high. It's still a loud noise. Like,
okay, let me hold on 1 second. Do I sound further away now than I did before?
Right now?
Yeah.
No, I mean, you sound about the same. It's definitely louder over the phone.
Okay. Look, I've adjusted the volume to the point where I think it should help. If it can't, it can't. Can you try to blow my eardrum out? No, Joe, I don't really feel like doing that. I don't know.
Can I put another defense statement in here?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go for it.
All right, I'm from New England originally. I live out in Colorado now, but you're sitting in traffic and some jerk behind you, the light just turns green 1 second, the guy's tooting the horn behind you. Does it make you happy, or does that make you feel a type of way?
Well, I would say that let's say
you're not in traffic.
I would say that if you need to honk at someone without your
I might be in
little
traffic listening to the show, though.
Right. But what I'm saying is think about it from this perspective. You've got your itty bitty horn, right? And you need me to come in and swing hard and drop a big horn sound. You just drop a $20 holler. I'll hold it down as long as you need.
Can we make it for something more significant so it's used less?
$20. I mean, look, $20 haulers are they're pretty big. You know, $20 haulers don't just come around every like 2 minutes or every minute. Now, granted, it depends if Perps is in the live stream. It also depends on what time of year. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't think we can fire the Boss Horn. This is not to do with the complaining. This has to do with just logic and reason. If we're sitting there in August and we have multiple in a row, it's going to be hard to fire it off and go through all the super chats. So we may have to readdress it during the season for practicality reasons, not because of sensitive ears.
Yeah.
But I'm open to a $50 hauler if the chat agree, but I think the chat doesn't want that. I think the chat is upset. I think the chat majority, 95% of people are like, this is ridiculous. Slime, I think I'm going to rule against the banning of the boss horn, and we'll have to watch the comments. Perps makes a good point. I don't know if Perps is available to call in. Perps makes a good point. Aside from Slime, who I really, really appreciate, and nobody gives Slime a hard time, please. I would say, aside from Slime, any comment that's negative is not from a regular. However, you could argue that a regular is scared to say something because they don't want to offend me or something. Not scared like that I'll, yell at them, but just scared that like they'll offend me. C-Mac says, blast that motherfucking horn.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Okay, so that was kind of out of nowhere. That was kind of out of nowhere. Can I ask someone if they want to unfollow now? If somebody say, screw it, I'm out of here. I want to know, is there anybody, and it's okay if you say it. It's okay if you say it. That horn got my wife pregnant, says Jason. I just want to hear an honest person. You don't have to necessarily leave yet, but tell me, are you about ready to leave the show because of the horn? We got another $20 super chat, says Jake. He says, fire it.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Now, Slime, I got to ask you, Slime, is the tiny toots better than the long toots?
I mean, I keep going back to the traffic light like I'm looking at you in the rearview mirror here. I think that the little toot is the polite one. I think when something is going hard or going ham, a big prediction, then yeah, let's fire that thing and like blow eardrums out for sure, blow my speakers out. But like just the honestly, Smitty, I love you, brother. Do whatever you got to do. This is your show. You're building this thing up. You're getting followers every day. Like,
losing followers.
It's cool that you interact with us like this and give us opportunity to express how we feel. But I feel you need an advocate in this one, or the devil's advocate in this one. So whatever, I'll be the bad guy tonight. Point your fingers.
Hey, Slime. I appreciate you. I'm sorry about how this is causing problems. I will say, if your bird doesn't have a problem with it, maybe there ain't a problem.
He actually said he would prefer more bag rustling than
bag. He likes ASMR. Let me show you the ASMR I provide.
Hold on, let me get close to him so he gets this full.
That's my ASMR. I should go live on TikTok for like an hour doing horn ASMR. I love doing toots, says Lupo. Look, I gotta say, I understand later on there's gonna be somebody that comes into the comments and says, that is obnoxious. He was right. I don't want to watch this channel. It makes it unbearable. I've seen that comment before. I respect it to a degree. Not fully. But, like, I've seen the comment, hey, this is just to help you. I just want you to know it makes it unbearable. It makes it hard to watch at work. There are some scenarios where it might not fit someone's day. And I hate that. I do. I truly hate that. But at the same time, like, what would you have done if you went to Howard Stern and said, Howard Stern, don't do this, don't do that? Would he have grown to the height that he grew because he tried to cater and pander to the majority instead of to who he was and the people that maybe would have grown his channel even bigger and stronger, which it did? I don't know. It's a tough dilemma. I think today there was not enough evidence, though, Slime, to overturn the horn tooting that goes on this channel. If you'd come in strong and said, hey, look, you sent my wife into pregnancy and we're at the hospital right now, and we're having, triplets instead of twins now. It's all unraveling. Then I would have potentially said we got to look at this. But I've received no evidence whatsoever to overturn the horn. I did lower the volume in accordance to the sound laws of Article 2755. But that's louder than the horn. This is louder than the horn. This is redlining my sound. Is that loud? Maybe it is. I'm doing it right next to the mic. All right. Okay, we got to go back to the news. Somehow we got sidetracked. Appreciate you, Slime, for calling in. You know you're my boy. Nobody gives Slime a tough time. He's a goat on here. Appreciate you being the anti-horn.
I'm here for the fun, man.
Thanks for being an anti-tutor. We'll see you later.
Later.
Travis, anything else before I go back to the news, and then you can call back in if you got anything else.
No, I'll call back in. I just wanted noted that I have my first win as a lawyer.
That is your first. Travis Rowe, successful
show.
prosecuting attorney or defense attorney.
Mashed potatoes.
Yep. Know where to find me.
Travis, if anybody needs Travis's services, he can negotiate, defend you. Go look him up. Travis Rowe.
Yep. I don't charge until
attorney@law.com
until they get the win.
All right. Later, Travis. Call back. All right. C-Mac says, I spent my lunch money for tomorrow on the horn. That's how good it is. You're going to slim down, too. This horn will keep you in shape. You start dropping lunch money to get a horn toot, you'll be losing weight before you know it. It's saving lives. Celebrating a super chat, not telling you to drive your car. Perspective is everything. Thank you. Appreciate you. Mad Reagan, appreciate you for dropping 50 gifted memberships. Is it Regan? Regan. It might be Regan. Mad Regan. Appreciate you. ERA didn't call in. ERA said, no horn, I'll quit watching. I think we lost somebody today. Let's give a standing ovation for, who is that? We'll miss you. We'll miss you. We hope you reconsider, but it looks like we lost a soldier today. Back to the news. $2 hauler, Smitty, when you're going live from your new backyard. I need to do that. We need to do that. Maybe tonight we'll do a Dynasty show or some sort of show back there. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for reminding me as well. All right, guys, back to the news. Where were we? Music? Where's the music? There. Okay. God, how far are we into the show? 42 minutes in? We've barely done any news. Derrick Henry, this news right here. Robert Griffin III says Derrick Henry plays with physicality, like the boss horn. He's relentless, like the boss horn. His preparation and his clear passion to get over the hump to play for a championship. There's only one place for him to go. Derrick Henry should be a Baltimore Raven because he already plays like a Baltimore Raven. That is from Robert Griffin III, and he's definitely a candidate to go to the Baltimore Ravens, Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry, when we look at the running back free agency landing spot board, we kind of call this the Barkley board, the Henry board, the Josh Jacobs board. You've got some of the best landing spots that we could come up with. Houston, Baltimore, Dallas. I really think Derrick Henry in Dallas makes a lot of sense. I think Baltimore makes a lot of sense. These two teams make the most sense for Derrick Henry. Barkley makes more sense for Houston and LAC. And you might be asking, Smitty, why is that? Smitty, what is it that makes you say such a thing? Oh, God, Smitty, that was loud. The reason I'd say that is these two teams are fighting for their coaches are fighting for their life, right? I mean, Harbaugh's not on the hot seat necessarily, but like they didn't execute and they were expected to. Baltimore crapped the bed. And so they're not as worried, I think, long-term about the running back position as much as they are their windows here. They should have went deeper into the playoffs and didn't. And what is the piece, even if it's temporary, a stopgap measure that can get us over the hump? It's Derrick Henry, for the reasons Robert Griffin III just said. And again, I don't know that I love Derrick Henry in the second round or anything, but in underdog drafts right now, he's going round 4. I love that. In Baltimore, I love that. Dallas, same thing. McCarthy's kind of on the hot seat. If McCarthy craps the bed, he's gone. They bring in Bill Belichick. They do something different. He doesn't need to worry about longevity of Barkley, longevity of Josh Jacobs. He's worried about how do I ground and pound in 2024, and the answer is Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry fits the bill for these two landing spots better than these two. So we'll see what happens. Charles with a $2 holler. Smitty, when are you going live for? Oh, that's old. Thank you, Charles. Appreciate your super chat. Charles, the man, the myth, the legend. Jake, thank you for the $20 holler. C-Mac, thank you for the $20 holler and the $5 holler. C-Mac, I'll hit you back on. I need to give you a badge on Instagram to make up for some of that. Appreciate you, C-Mac. C-Mac, my boy. Go follow. Hey, can we go follow C-Mac, by the way? On Instagram. This guy has a lot of controversial topics. If you like the Boss Horn, you're gonna like his topics, his posts. He's kind of all over the place, like in a good way. This guy definitely, he makes waves. Aiyuk is about to be cheaper this season once he extends. That is a definite possibility, right? That if you could maybe do a lot of upfront money, signing bonus, kick the problem down the road, it actually could free up some cash. And so this would be, C-Mac, if you're able to call in, I would love to ask you, why is the Niner way, this whole way of waiting till August, not overlooked for this situation? If you could free up money by extending him and make it easier on your offseason, why are you going to stick to the Niner way? I don't understand this Niner way. To be frank, it sounds a lot like an anti-Boss Horn tutor, is what it sounds like to me. This Niner way of extending players in August. Let's wait. Let's wait until August when we could save money and get a whole lot more done. Protect Brock Purdy, improve the offensive line. This is what they did with Deebo. They did this with Deebo, and it was a problem. It was a big problem. Thank you, C-Mac. Appreciate you. Again, please go follow C-Mac. His Instagram is C-Max 49er Fire. C-Max with an S. C-Max 49er Fire. And it literally, his content is half the time on fire. You be the judge as to whether it offends you or not, because that's how C-Mac rolls, and that's why he loves the Boss Horn. He gravitates to the Boss Horn like no other. Travis just followed C-Mac. Go follow C-Mac. Appreciate you. What I miss, I quit the show for 5 minutes and couldn't hold out any longer, says Antonio. Antonio, glad to have you back. Antonio's back. He said, the Boss Horn's got to go or I'm out. We called his bluff. Antonio's back. Aiyuk, this is what Sauce Gardner had to say. This one's a little weird, to be honest with you. Aiyuk is one wide receiver I see who gets open the majority of the game but doesn't get thrown the ball. And he can win in contested situations, so if he's not wide open... The part I don't understand about this is, like, didn't he have 1,400 yards? Like, it was clearly he was misused in the Super Bowl. But I don't know if I'd go as far as to say he was not throwing the ball and always wide open. He had like 1,400 yards. He had a big year. I have a feeling that this guy, look at this man's face. I have a feeling he's going to put up a stink in the offseason. I don't think this guy messes around like Deebo. I think Deebo is a likable, smiling, easy to root for, easy to forgive type of personality. This is my boy Raj, by the way. Go follow Raj, RSF 49ers. This is his tweet here. Go follow him on Instagram. 350 plus thousand people can't be wrong. Sauce Gardner. He's at least backing Aiyuk and saying Aiyuk needs to get the bag, essentially, with this right here. I just want to know why the Niners won't sign Aiyuk. If they're going to do it, why not do it now? Why create animosity between the fan base and Aiyuk? It doesn't make any sense. Go follow Raj. Fields, we talked about this yesterday, so I'm briefly going to say that Fields has not scrubbed his social media yet. I guess I should look at Fields' social media and see if it changed between... he did make it so you can't tag him, I believe. Justin Fields. No, hold on. No, he didn't scrub it. He didn't scrub it. He's got Chicago Bears still in the title. Same thing as you see right there. Atlanta. Not Atlanta's because that's his hometown. He wants to be there. I think he wants to be in Atlanta. That's not necessarily saying he wants to go to Atlanta. This is just him telling you, hey, my hometown, let's go. Or my home. I'm homesick for Atlanta. Atlanta's where Atlanta's where my heart is. That's what he's saying in his profile there. But if you search for the Bears on his social media, it reportedly doesn't come up. Well, no, I confirm this. It does not. This is my screenshot. On Twitter, reportedly, he is still following the Bears. So take it with a grain of salt, but I do believe Fields is gone. I've heard other whispers and rumors that the Bears are going to make their plan a little bit more public soon and maybe really push trade conversations. So once that happens, we know it's done. This rumor right here from BR Gridiron, rumor, Bleacher Report, Dak to reset the QB market with $60 million a year, which is kind of like, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be extended or anything, but like, good Lord, this is a guy that, like, right after their downfall, people were questioning whether he needed to be replaced. You know, it seems like we're doing this every offseason too. Dak, he's great. He's great during the year. He's great during the year. Oh, he sucks in the playoffs. Is he the problem? No, he's not the problem. Okay, do we extend him? Smitty, don't you always do the cap space isn't real? Does that not pertain to the Aiyuk situation? It does to a degree. The reason the cap isn't real, it's a good question, Young, is extending him, and you have more cap space by extending him. That's a perfect example of why the cap is manipulated. Like, you're going to give someone a big fat bag and they go down in price for 2024. That is the definition of the cap isn't real. You can move stuff around like crazy. You can restructure. You can do a lot of upfront money. And so it's a good question. And the answer is there's ways to maneuver around it. But the one way for the Niners would be to take care of business up front and get Aiyuk inked to an extension, free up your money so you know what you're doing and you have time to go get players. The Niners are going to let free agency walk by. A lot of players get snagged, and then they're going to do their contract extension later. Dak to reset the market, $60 million. Not saying he doesn't deserve to be extended, but does he deserve to reset the market? No. Again, this is a man that people were questioning after they lost their playoff game. Is he the problem? Oh, he's not. Let's extend him. Let's give him $60 million a year. It's just unreal. It's unreal. And a running back like Barkley is going to get nothing. Dak's going to get $60 million a year. Barkley can't sniff half of that. You know, on a full deal, on a full contract. Kenneth Walker, good news here. I'd like to see this about our boy Kenny Walker. Kenneth Walker, Mike McDonald said the team would emphasize the run in 2024. That's good. Let's hope that Kenneth Walker gets totally unleashed. I have a feeling Pete Carroll was part of the solution in terms of believing in him, but part of the problem in terms of volume. So I'm hoping that Kenneth Walker gets fed like a monster and becomes the guy we all thought he would really be in 2023. C-Mac is live. C-Mac, appreciate your super chat. We're here to talk a little Brandon Aiyuk. Can you explain to me why the Niner way is such a good way in terms of extending players when, as you just said, you can make Aiyuk cheaper? You can put your team in a great position to make offseason moves early on by getting this thing done early. Is there a reason? You can enlighten me.
Yeah, it's a simple answer. The answer is no. There's not a good reason. I don't know exactly why. I think out of everything, the two biggest things that I noticed in this process is that when those guys do get signed, they're not the same player that season. Happened with Nick Bosa, happened with Deebo Samuel. Both guys in those contract years had awful showings. Nick Bosa, especially this year, he talked about it earlier on in the season. Yes, I don't understand why it's a thing. I have no good explanation.
I like to hear that we're on the same page finally, because usually C-Mac and I are not always on the same page, but it's not like it's okay. Like, that's the way our relationship is. But I was really wondering if there was a reason, like, oh, because this, the Niners do this, then they'll have actually more money to, like, I was wondering. You've looked into the cap pretty strongly. I even put your thing up the other day. I sent you the clip of it. of talking about your breakdown of the Niners situation and the Niners coming from C-Mac, very pro-Niner, always going at me for my negative Niner takes, says that the Niners, I think your quote was, the Niners are, the front office has got a dreadful task ahead this offseason, I believe.
Very dreadful.
Yeah. I just don't get what John Lynch is thinking, or Kyle, or anybody, Jed, anybody, the brass, everybody, why you would, not learn from your mistakes of, like you said, Bosa, Deebo, dragged out, bad season to come. Like, Aiyuk is going to probably have a lesser year than he would if you extend him later and he complains and is away from the team. And look, Brock and Aiyuk and Brock and everybody, they still got to build rapport. It's not like everything's perfect yet. Like, to have Aiyuk missing for a majority of the offseason is going to be devastating. I don't understand this about your franchise.
Yeah, I don't know. I noticed that the front office likes to take it a step at a time. So when it's free agency, we're fully into free agency. When it's draft time, we're fully into draft time. And then you get to the summer and it's like, all right, now we're going to extend our guys. I don't know if it's like not that we can't multitask, but it's like they take one thing on their plate at a time. They don't multitask well, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I like Aiyuk a lot. I think this is a little bit.
Aiyuk is. I'm going to say this, and people are going to be like, "You're crazy." Aiyuk to me, in this offense, hell of a wide receiver. I'd say top 5, one of the best route runners in the league, right? I mean, he's like coming up onto his prime, and to where he's going to reach the max on his ceiling. And this kid could be one of the best wide receivers in the league. I'm telling you, what I've seen even with Deebo, I feel like Aiyuk's more valuable than Deebo. People are going to tear me to shreds with that because he does run the ball and he does catch the ball. But I don't know, man. You gotta have that route runner, that guy that can create separation like Aiyuk does. Aiyuk's phenomenal, man. And Deebo, he does have his injuries.
How can he be top 5 though in this offense with all these mouths to feed though? Like, I don't know. I think he had a really good year. I forget where he ranked. It was probably not that far off, but
yeah, I'm just talking talent wise, not necessarily numbers. I mean, his numbers are good this year, but talent wise, I mean, route running and creating separation. I mean,
but how much is that? How much of that is Deebo making it easier for him?
Deebo is barely seeing double coverage. People are manning up on Deebo. Deebo gets open he gets his yardage with the yak, the bubble screen, that kind of stuff, the little slants over the middle. But creating separation and going downfield, I mean, you can look at some of Purdy's top throws, the Tampa game, deep downfield.
Have you looked into how many times the number one D-back is on Deebo versus Aiyuk? Have you looked into that data? I'd be really curious to know that.
No, I would imagine that, I mean, unless it's like a Sherman situation where a corner only plays a certain side of the field. But a following corner, I'm sure they're following Deebo.
So I wonder what if Deebo was gone, how good Aiyuk would be. I truly believe that.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be as, I don't think he'd be as good. I don't know. I also think that Ronnie Bell, if you had to go in that direction, would thrive. I really think that part of it is a system. And I don't necessarily disagree that if Aiyuk left, he wouldn't leave with the skills that the system created for him and sculpted him into this guy that he currently is. I'm not saying he would fall apart or turn into a pumpkin. I think that the system could regenerate a lot of what's going on with Aiyuk with Ronnie Bell. I like Ronnie Bell a lot.
Yeah, Ronnie Bell's he's kind of in the doghouse right now. He has
a
pretty big problem with drop passes, man. Drop passes, and he was also punt return. He had a couple of fumbles, and that's why Deebo went back there on the kick returns. He's in the doghouse, man. His hands have kind of been a problem. That's why Jawan Jennings has been that guy.
You know who was in the doghouse also? Aiyuk at one point. So maybe it's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Maybe it motivates you. I don't know. We'll see. But thanks for calling in. Thanks for the super chat, and good luck to you this offseason, my guy. I don't know what's going to happen. Let me ask you this last question. Percentage.
I want to say this. I feel like somebody in the top 8 of our contract is going to be moved. The top 8 contracts are so loaded. I don't know how they're going to keep all these guys. and then sign the other, 43 other people that it is with like $28 million to spend, yes, they're going to restructure contracts. But me and Vlad talk about it all the time. You can't just keep kicking the can down the road. That's going to catch up with you. And we're literally at that point. Next year, especially when we got to extend Brock, we're definitely going to be a problem.
So let me ask you a question. Odds percentage that the Niners trade one of Deebo or Aiyuk. You don't have to give me the wide receiver. What is the percentage chance that one of them's gone?
I'd say 20.
That's high, though.
Yeah, it is high, but I would say because Deebo is due to make $28 million. I mean, somebody in this top 8 to 10 contracts has got to get moved. I don't understand. Like, you can restructure money, but how many contracts can you restructure to create enough money to sign the whole roster? So I don't know. Somebody's going to get moved. I'd say it's high just because I feel like somebody's going to lose that top.
Would you take, as a Niner decision maker, and you could hit the button yes or no right now, and it's all on you? If the Buffalo Bills said we'll give you 28 overall for Deebo, would you take it?
28, no way.
Really?
Yeah, man, it's got to be higher. This guy, what you just went through with the whole contract situation, that whole offseason of BS that he put you through, to get a pick 28,
But C-Mac, how much was Christian McCaffrey?
Well, that's Carolina in a rebuild.
I know, but I know it's not. I know it's not right because I disagree with the valuation of players and draft picks. I'm a big advocate of smacking some of these decision makers across the back of the head and saying, pay up, go get Deebo, offer the 28. But I can pretty much guarantee that not a lot of people would give up the 28 for Deebo. Just because of the way the market is set for players versus picks. Okay, so you obviously wouldn't give up Aiyuk for the 28 because knowing the contract and all that.
Yeah,
wow.
I have a lot of value in Aiyuk. I'm telling you, man. Aiyuk, I have a lot of value in Aiyuk. The way he gets open the route running, I love it. I tell you, a lot of the fan base, on social media is all for trading Deebo Samuel. I just want to throw that out there. His injuries are a thing, and then also too, there's just times where he doesn't show up. Against Philly, had a great game. It's like the Dallas games, the Philly game. He shows up, but I don't know. I also too, you have to worry about what that does in the locker room because Deebo is
Let me say this: that I think you're probably not far off base as to where the Niners value Deebo. But I think it's off base with where everybody else is. So, like, if the Niners are like, let's look into maybe trading Deebo, they're not going to be happy with the answers because I doubt you're getting – like, this would be a tough sell, Buffalo, to give up the 28. So, if you're expecting more than that, and I expect Kyle Shanahan to expect more than that, and I don't think you're going to get it. Like, no one's giving up anything higher than that. But, man,
I think that contract number is the obstacle.
That's crazy. 28. I think 28 would be a lot. Deebo's older. I don't know, man. All right. Hey. All right, C-Mac. Appreciate you. Call back if you got anything else to add on the topic.
All right, bro.
All right, later. C-Mac. Go follow him on Instagram. C-Mac's 49er Fire. It's right on the screen here. C-Mac's 49er Fire. Let me go back to that screen right here. Go follow him. C-Mac's with an S. 49er Fire on IG. He's doing good things on there. Like I said, a little controversial if you like that kind of thing. So go do it. Go do it live. If you like the Boss Horn, you like him. All right. Josh Jacobs, this piece of news. ESPN reporter believes Josh Jacobs would be a good fit with the Dallas Cowboy offense. This goes back to, our whole Barkley, Henry, and Jacobs board and trying to predict where these players could land. And, I think, Jacobs has an opportunity to maybe go to Baltimore, to Philly, to probably not Buffalo or Cincy, but they would be smart to pursue one of these three running backs. I just don't know if the Bengals will be smart enough to go get one of them. The Chargers, I could see. Houston, I could see. I mean, really, Jacobs fits everywhere on the screen. He's younger, so it makes sense for all the teams involved. Barkley makes sense for all the teams involved. Henry doesn't make sense for all the teams involved, but you could almost make it fit. You could almost say Buffalo, why not? Go for a run. You could almost say Bengals, maybe a short-term situation, but go for it. Develop, Brown and see if maybe Chase Brown can be the guy, but you bring in Henry right now. Philadelphia, they'd be super smart to bring in Derrick Henry, but will they? I don't know. It's tough to say. But that news is out there, and ESPN's smoke is pointing toward the Cowboys. So we'll find out, how true that is. That's all the news as of right now. And real quickly, just to touch on the Kenneth Walker thing again. Hopefully, Kenneth Walker gets used in a massive way this year and becomes and everyone's gonna debate whether he's gonna do it. Like everyone's gonna kind of run away from it. And I'll be honest, like even me, I'm a little apprehensive about spending high draft capital, and when I see him, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll wait around because of the way it didn't necessarily work out, but it wasn't Walker's fault. It was volume. It was a volume concern. I have a feeling that if we're smart about drafting Kenneth Walker this year, we cuff him to Zach Charbonnet with a new coach and a new potential, system in a way, or at least approach to the run game, we're going to see Kenneth Walker do some big things. So I'm excited about Kenneth Walker. Appreciate everybody in the building right now. Golf in the house. Hob G in the building. We've got how many people in the building right now? We've got 133 people. Punch the thumb up button if you haven't already. So we fired the boss horn off about 2, 3, 4, about 5 times. And we haven't lost viewers. We've got 133. Maybe we would have 145 if I didn't fire off the boss horn. But I don't know. I don't think anybody made a strong enough case to take it away. And I even asked Miss Smitty. I said, you know what? I've got about 5, 6 complaining Caleb's and complaining Karens in the chat. No offense to anybody that said, this is hard for me. I've got a family. I've got a job. I'm trying to listen to you. And this boss horn's going off. Miss Smitty had every opportunity to say, yeah, probably a good idea, so that she didn't hear it in the middle of the night. And you know what Miss Smitty said? In a sack-up type of way, she said, why don't you pull your audience and see what they think, because who cares what 3 or 4 or 5 people say that are loud? Do what the majority want. Do what's going to be best for the show, not what's best for 10 people that make it feel like it's best for everybody, and then you're hitting all of them. Miss Smitty said sack up. She could have said take it away so I can sleep good at night, but didn't do that. She's looking out for the show. So Miss Smitty to the moon. That's
to the moon.
Good. I was pretty proud of her. I was like, that's it. You know what? I was expecting her to be like, yeah, take it away. Take the boss horn away. Just get rid of it. Corum is overrated, says Hod Prime. I agree with you to some degree. If Corum went to LAC, I think his coach, whether he's overrated or not, would use the hell out of him. So Corum's landing spot is his landing spot will make him very dependent, or his fantasy value is very dependent on his landing spot, 100%. I'm not a huge Blake Corum guy. I made that abundantly clear. I actually called him a big avoid walking into last year's draft when he was expected to maybe declare for the NFL draft and forego, and he decided to return. And therefore I said, well, let's see what he does for another year. He did improve. He did absolutely get better. Yeah, Miss Smitty also got a new iPhone. I said, hey, if we up the $20 haulers to 100 during the 11 p.m. Eastern on, so if anybody drops a $20 hauler 11 p.m. on, I don't fire the boss horn off. That was negotiated with Miss Smitty. But it doesn't matter if it's 3 a.m., doesn't matter if it's 2 a.m. It moves from 20 to 100 during the 11 p.m. on time frame. So if it's 3 a.m. and someone drops a $100 hauler, I fire the boss horn off. And she doesn't complain. I don't know. Dial in. Anybody want to call real quick?
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in. Dial in. This is a new Prime, by the way. It's called Cherry Freeze. I don't know. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I got a case of it. I've been liking it. I think the Ice Pop is still the best one, but this one's pretty good. Yep. Boss Horn is all good. Thank you, Matto. Appreciate you. Anybody else have a question? Dial in real quick. I mean, the news is pretty straightforward today. It's a lot of good news, though. A lot of information. A lot of stuff to kick around. Fields is still, in my opinion, going to Washington or Atlanta, or maybe an aggressive Denver move. Maybe another team's going to get in the mix. There are a lot of teams that are going to be in the mix for the Justin Fields sweepstakes, no doubt about it. Minnesota is going to be potentially a name you hear. Denver, like I said. LV probably not, because Getsy was the OC in Chicago who failed to develop Fields, and he goes to LV, so why would LV bring him in? You never know, though. New Orleans, don't know if they're going to do that, but they should. Fields. Seattle would be phenomenal, but they decided to roll with Geno again, although they still could draft a quarterback like Penix Jr., and I think that's probably the idea. The Washington OC Grubb coming over to Seattle to be the new Seattle Seahawk OC means that he's going to be taking Penix Jr. at some point in this draft, I think, Seattle, because Grubb's going to want his guy. I don't think he'll necessarily make the decision. That's why it may or may not work out, but and Seattle passes on him. But I think Penix Jr. to 16 would be phenomenal to play with his OC. His OC he just had in Washington is now in Seattle, which is fantastic. Indianapolis is, we talked about this a lot. My favorite potential. We got Bruce on the phone. My favorite potential Bowers or Neighbors or Odunze or obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. if they were to trade up. Hey, Bruce. I gotta say, your mom knocked it out of the park. If anybody hasn't seen it, the Bruce's mom sent me a clip. I've already doctored it up. Bruce, hang tight real quick. Let me play for the audience in the chat the Get Bijan clip that your mother sent me that is remarkable. And then I want to hear how she likes it. Okay, here it is.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special message from the Bruce's mother.
Get Bijan.
She did a phenomenal job, Bruce. Have you showed it to her? I think you said you did. But let's get the natural reaction. Did you show it to her, and what did she say?
I did, and she started laughing and smiling.
Made her smile. Did you also tell your mother, I don't know if she's watching right now, that I consider to, put your earmuffs on real quick, Bruce, I consider her to be the most knowledgeable football member of your family.
To Saturn.
Bruce, what can I do for you, pal? You can take your earmuffs off.
This comes from my mother. She said, what if the Falcons, instead of going for Fields, what if they went for Russ?
Hey, I've talked about that. That's like a worst case, scenario to play out. Like, that's an upgrade. If Russell Wilson's throwing to London, we saw what he could do with Sutton. I'm not hating it. Do I like Fields 10 times better, especially long term, especially like Super Bowl contending wise? Like, yeah. Do I think Russell Wilson brings the Falcons into a Super Bowl kind of conversation? Probably not. But fantasy-wise, I really don't mind it. Could they make the playoffs with Russell Wilson? Absolutely. Would they win multiple playoff games with Russell Wilson? Maybe, but probably I would say let's temper expectations till we see, how good Russell Wilson fits into that scheme. But that is a very, very solid, from a fantasy football mindset, like backup plan if Fields doesn't go to Atlanta, if they don't get the balls to take Penix Jr., or they don't get, a move up to get JD5 or something like that. I don't mind it. All right. What else?
What about if Kirk goes there, Kirk Cousins? Could
Yeah.
he make Drake London? Could Drake London get JJ numbers?
I don't know if he has JJ numbers, but he's definitely a top 6 to 10 wide receiver with Kirk Cousins. I don't know how long Kirk Cousins is going to play. It certainly could be a couple years. I don't think he'll sign a big fat contract and walk after a year, but will he be solid for 3 or 4 years? I don't know. Will he be good for 2 years? Yeah. Could they win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins? I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say, oh, yeah, I really think they will. But I certainly I also can't say no. Like, the Falcons are so talented. I think we're all brainwashed in a little bit of a PTSD, with what the Falcons have and what they're capable of. Like, we all kind of just view the Falcons as this I don't know, maybe it'll turn around a situation when it's literally one of the best teams in the National Football League that has no, like, it's like one of the best vehicles, engine, a body frame, everything, and the car has no tires or wheels. It's like, how can it drive? And when you look at it sitting there, as marvelous as it looks, you're thinking this is a worthless vehicle. Like, that's what it is. And I think we all just kind of assume that all the parts now, the amazing frame, the amazing engine, is all good, but not as amazing as we once thought. It's not brand new and shiny anymore, so we're kind of ignoring it, overlooking it. And when you slip some wheels and some tires on that bad boy, and all of a sudden it's revving its engine to go, everybody should be going like this. That thing is going to take off, but instead people are like, we'll see. So, like, you put Kirk Cousins in the offense, everybody's going to take a we'll see approach, when really, if we weren't absolutely abused by Arthur Smith for a year, I think we'd be looking at it completely different. We're all a little brainwashed and have a little PTSD. I really think Kirk Cousins would be amazing there. I don't think they're better than they would be with Fields, but I mean, it's a good team. It's a playoff contending team, no doubt about it. How far do they go? I don't know.
Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
Like I said, when the thing that she said that you were right about was that if the Bears say it's a first rounder or nothing, that the Falcons would just give up their pick and say, just give us Fields.
Who said that?
My mother, when I asked you that one time, if the Bears said give us a first round pick or we're keeping them, and you were like, oh, the Falcons would do that.
I said that. I said that, but we're seeing a lot of reports that refute that. I don't know. Like, everyone's going to say, no way the Falcons give up the 9 overall for Fields. And I'm not saying that that would necessarily happen straight up. But when you look at it as a move down, it's different than surrendering the first rounder. If the Falcons move the 8 down to the second round, and they get Fields, I mean, it's something that, like, I'm just telling you, as a GM or decision maker, if it was the difference of me getting Fields and not getting Fields, of course I would negotiate, push it to the limit, try and actually, steal Fields away. But if it was the difference of moving my 8 overall down to the second round to get Justin Fields, if push came to shove, I would do it. And I know some people are going to disagree, but are you disagreeing because that's how you really feel? Or are you disagreeing because the NFL has trained you into thinking players are not worth draft picks? Because if you believe Fields isn't worth moving from the 8 to the second round, not giving up the 8 overall, you're moving the 8 to the second round. If you don't think Fields is worth that, I got a Christian McCaffrey to sell you for a second, a third, and a fourth round pick. Isn't that what McCaffrey went for? It was like a second, a third, and a fourth. Unbelievable that Christian McCaffrey, no other team decided to go get Christian McCaffrey. And we're still okay with the way everybody evaluates player values comparatively to draft picks. Get out of here. Christian McCaffrey was worth the first rounder. No doubt about it. But the Niners walked in and probably barely wanted to pay that too. Walked in and like, well, we'll take it for this. And so I whether I'm right or wrong, I'm telling you, I would not allow my franchise to go down the road that doesn't have Justin Fields because I'm worried about overpaying. And you might say I'm a bad GM, or good thing you're not the GM, Smitty. I get that comment about 4 or 5 times a video when I have this discussion, and I don't care. I overpay. If you think moving down from 8 to the second round is overpaying for Justin Fields, then again, I fine. Fine. But the good news, Bruce, is if they don't get a Fields trade done, they don't get Kirk Cousins, they still got Penix Jr., they still got Bo Nix, they still have a chance to get JD5. I think JD5 increases in value to the tune of the number 1 or number 2 overall pick, but maybe they trade up. I don't know. McCarthy, look, McCarthy's 10 times better than Ritter. And McCarthy without Arthur Smith is 10 times better than that. So as much as I don't love McCarthy, he's still light years ahead of what they had. So I'll take it. But I think Nix is very good. I think people are sleeping on Bo Nix, man. This guy's got a little Patrick Mahomes to him. His ability to scramble and get out of a sticky situation is crazy. Go watch some footage. Go YouTube Bo Nix highlights. Watch this guy get out of trouble and improvise and make Patrick Mahomes type decisions. It's pretty crazy how nobody's on the Bo Nix train. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
I know Harbaugh's on the McCarthy train.
You what?
I said Harbaugh's on the McCarthy train.
Yeah, you got to wonder, like, if as much as we're hearing about how much McCarthy loves, or Harbaugh loves McCarthy, and I know he's trying to pimp his guy, like, hey, somebody needs to take him. He should go number 1 overall. That's dumb. No one's taking McCarthy number 1 overall. Harbaugh, get real. But the fact that this guy's so enamored with him, if I was the Raiders, if I was the Broncos, if I was the Vikings, if I was the Seahawks, if I was the Falcons, I would be on the phone just tempting Harbaugh over and over and over and saying, look, go get McCarthy. He'll be there at 5. Go get McCarthy. Give us Herbert. No, I've been brought in to create this new system and groom Herbert. I'll give you the 8 overall and a future first rounder. I'd give the 8 overall and a future first rounder for Justin Herbert if I'm the Atlanta Falcons. You give the Atlanta Falcons McCarthy and Neighbors. If you believe in McCarthy, if Harbaugh believes in McCarthy, why wouldn't he do that? A future first rounder and the number 8 if he loves McCarthy so much. I would give up the world. If I was the Minnesota Vikings, I would give up the 11 and a future first rounder. But the problem is McCarthy might not last to 11, so the Minnesota Vikings are kind of not in the best shape to make that move. But the Falcons could probably do it. I think McCarthy might fall to 11. The only problem is you're putting yourself in a pinch, though. Oh, no, I'm sorry. They would take him at 5. They would take him at 5. This would be Odunze then. So, yeah, I was confusing myself. If you are the Vikings and you trade the 11 and the future first for Justin Herbert, you tell Harbaugh to go draft his boy, McCarthy, even though I'm not saying I like that. I'm just saying this is what I'd do. If I was a GM, I'd literally be texting him until he blocked my number. I'd be like, hey, it's Minnesota again. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I would too.
Look, I don't want to do it. I was brought in to mature and bring Herbert along. What about if I'd be that annoying trader in your league that just doesn't stop. And I'd be, what if I gave you a 3rd rounder and a future first rounder and the 11 for Justin Herbert? I'd get it done. Herbert to JJ? Get out of here.
That would deserve a ball.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would deserve a ball smart if that happened.
I mean, come on. Herbert to, I would draft Blake Corum and then call him up. I'd draft McCarthy and Blake Corum if I was the Vikings, and then call him up and go, hey, I got 2 guys, Blake Corum and McCarthy, and a future 2nd rounder for Justin Herbert. I let it all ride on the fact that I could convince Harbaugh to just do it at the end of the day. Good God. Hung like Hernandez is celebrating his 14-month membership. Trade Chase for the 1.2 and 1.3. I have the 1.1. Trade Jamar Chase for the 1.2 and 1.3. Woo! So you're talking about Odunze and Neighbors for Jamar Chase. As much as I love those 2 wide receivers, I can't trade Jamar Chase. He's a proven product. I like Neighbors a lot. I love Odunze a lot. It's not a bad move. If you're rebuilding and you can't win with Jamar Chase, I suppose you maybe think about it. Does the chat agree or disagree? Would you rather have Odunze and Neighbors or Jamar Chase? He's got the 1.1, so he's going to have Marvin Harrison Jr. anyway.
I'll take Chase.
Yeah, I think because you got MHJ and Chase, I would be happy with that. I'm sure your wide receiver 3 is not hurting that bad. I don't think I'd do it. Herbert never, ever getting traded. $127 million dead cap money, says Daddy Dennis. Is that...
Oh, I got to run, Smitty.
All right. Hey, Bruce, appreciate you. What does that look like after June, though? But that doesn't really help matters because you got to draft McCarthy then and do a pinky promise. We'll trade later. All right. Roman Neighbors says 1 vote. Is it Superflex, says Theo? I don't know. I don't know that it changes my mind. Well, maybe it does. Because then if you need a quarterback badly, you could get Caleb and Neighbors. So I guess if it's a super flex, but it doesn't necessarily change my mind if my quarterbacks are solid. If you got good quarterback play, then it doesn't change my mind. If you have no quarterbacks and you finally have a chance to get like a quarterback, and it would be JD5 for me, but you could get JD5 and Caleb and Marvin Harrison Jr. if you had no quarterback. So it's a good point if it's super flex. All right, guys, appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. Hit that subscribe button on the way out the door. We'll be live tonight, probably on Rumble. We haven't done Rumble in a couple days, so we need to do a Rumble show. I'll see you all later. Appreciate you all. We'll leave it on this note. We'll leave it with the Bruce's mother.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special message from the Bruce's mother.
Get Bijan.
Revoked.
Liftoff of mission 3, 2, 1, 0.
Legend has it if you say Saint Brown 3 times in the dark in the bathroom, you will immediately lose your league.
Live Monday through Friday, like this show, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. See you all later. I'll be live later tonight. Gonna go get some Chipotle. I'll be live on Rumble, maybe the Dynasty channel, maybe the main channel, depends. See you all later. Chipotle time.